Here is the most cursed situation from my entire career. Number 1. How I wore a pirate costume to a funeral. We're going to start off with one of the most brutal workplace disasters I have ever experienced, when one garbled voicemail turned a normal invitation into complete social annihilation. It's late September, maybe 2 weeks into a new job at a mid-sized consulting firm. I'm still in that phase where I'm learning names, nodding at people in the break room, pretending I understand the company culture. My new boss, a guy named Richard who wears cardigans and speaks in corporate riddles, leaves me a voicemail on a Friday afternoon. I'm on the subway when it comes through, reception cutting in and out, so the audio is completely chopped up. What I hear is something like, Richard's voice, gathering, tomorrow, colleague, casual, costumes welcome, hope to see you there. I replay it 3 times. The word costumes is clear. The rest is garbled nonsense. Now, I'm thinking this is some kind of team-building thing, maybe a corporate retreat.
With a theme. Maybe they do weird trust exercises in costumes to break the ice. It sounds insane, but I've worked at places that made us do trust falls and paint ceramics together. So, honestly, nothing is off the table. I assume this is just another quirky office tradition. I text a coworker to ask what the deal is with the gathering tomorrow, but she doesn't respond. No one else from the office has my number yet, so I'm flying blind. I spend Friday night digging through my closet and then hit a costume shop that's open late near my apartment. I'm not going to half commit to this. If they want costumes, I'm going full energy. I want to make a good impression. I want to seem fun and adaptable. I pick a pirate costume, not a cheap one either. This thing has the ruffled white shirt, the black vest with gold trim, the striped pants, the knee-high leather boots that squeak when you walk, a red sash, a plastic cutlass with a wobbly hilt, a tricorn hat, a gold plastic hook hand, fingerless biker gloves, a fake bandana with attached dreadlocks, and a bright neon green plastic parrot.
That clips onto your shoulder.
The parrot is battery-powered. It squawks when you press a button. I think this is going to kill. I think Richard is going to love this. I think I'm about to become the guy who gets invited to everything. Saturday morning, I get dressed. I look in the mirror. I look like I'm about to commandeer a cruise ship. The eye patch blocks my left peripheral vision completely, but I commit. I even practice a few pirate phrases in case someone asks. I drive to the address Richard mentioned in the voicemail. It's a community center I've never been to, about 20 minutes from the office. The parking lot is half full. I see a lot of sedans and a few people in dark clothing walking toward the entrance. I assume they just haven't changed yet. Maybe costumes are optional, and these people are boring. I walk in through the glass doors, boots squeaking on the marble floor, sword rattling against my hip. The lobby is quiet, too quiet. I hear muffled voices from a room down the hall. I follow the sound. I push open the door. I am immediately bathed in the cold.
Horrified silence of about 40 people dressed in black. There are flowers everywhere. There is a large photo of a colleague I vaguely recognize from the office on an easel surrounded by candles. There is a woman in the front row sobbing into her hands. There is soft piano music playing from a speaker in the corner. This is a memorial service. I have walked into a funeral dressed like I'm about to plunder the Caribbean. The first person to make eye contact with me is the deceased's mother. She is older, wearing all black, clutching a tissue, and she looks directly at me, then at the parrot on my shoulder, then back at my face. Her mouth opens slightly. No sound comes out. My brain is screaming at me to turn around and leave, but I'm already 4 steps into the room, and the door has closed behind me with a loud click. If I leave now, I'll cause an even bigger scene. People are starting to turn and look. I see Richard in the 3rd row. His face goes pale. His eyes widen. He mouths something that might be, "What are you doing?" I freeze.
My plastic sword swings and smacks the doorframe with a hollow thunk. Someone in the back gasps. I do the only thing my panic brain can think of. I walk further into the room, slowly, trying to look solemn, and I slip behind a large potted ficus tree near the back corner. The plant is maybe 5 feet tall. I am 6 feet tall, wearing a hat with a parrot. The ficus covers approximately half of my torso,
My hat, my parrot, my boots, and my sword are fully visible. I am not hidden. I am simply standing behind a plant in a pirate costume at a funeral. The service continues. A man I don't know walks to the front and begins a eulogy. He talks about the colleague's kindness, his dedication, his love for his family. I am sweating inside my ruffled shirt. My hook hand is resting awkwardly on my hip. My real hand is gripping the plastic sword to keep it from rattling. I try to take the hat off to look more respectful, but when I do, the bandana and dreadlocks are revealed. I look worse. I put the hat back on.
I make the decision to stay for the entire service. Leaving now would be worse. Walking out in the middle of a eulogy, dressed like this, would be unforgivable. So I stay. The service lasts 1 hour and 52 minutes. It is the longest 2 hours of my entire life. During the opening prayer, I try to bow my head. The parrot slips forward on my shoulder and I have to catch it, making a soft rustling sound. 3 people turn and glare. During a moment of silence, I shift my weight and my boot squeaks loudly on the marble floor. It echoes. Someone coughs to cover it. I don't move again for 11 minutes. My leg cramps. Halfway through, a senior executive I've never spoken to approaches me. He's older, grey-haired, wearing a dark suit. He leans in and whispers, "Why are you dressed like that?" I panic. I say the first thing that comes into my head. I tell him the sword is a grief counseling tool. I tell him it helps people focus their sorrow into something tangible. I tell him I read about it in a grief workshop manual. He stares at me. I watch his face try to process this. He does not process it. He takes one step back, then another, then turns and walks away without saying anything. I have now graduated from looking like an idiot to looking like a potential menace. The eulogy continues. Another colleague gets up and talks about a camping trip they took together. I'm still behind the ficus. My eye patch is fogging up from my breath. I can't see out of my left eye, and I'm afraid to adjust it because any movement draws attention. I hear sniffling from the rows in front of me. I also hear whispering. I know it's about me. At one point, someone walks past my plant and does a double take. It's another coworker from my floor. She sees me, sees the costume, sees the parrot, and her eyes go so wide I think she's going to scream. She doesn't. She just walks faster toward the bathroom. I pray she doesn't come back. She comes back. She sits down and I see her lean over and whisper to the person next to her. That person turns and looks directly at me. Then they whisper to someone else. It spreads. By the end of the service, at least 15 people are aware that there is a man in a pirate costume hiding behind a houseplant. During the final prayer, the parrot squawks. I didn't mean to press the button. My arm shifted, my elbow hit the clip, and the battery-powered bird lets out a loud electronic pirate parrot noise. It sounds like a tropical cockatoo having a stroke. The room goes silent. I hold my breath. No one turns around this time. They have given up. They are choosing to ignore me. It's a collective mercy. The service ends. People begin to stand and hug each other. I see this as my window. I make my move toward the exit. I try to walk quietly, but my boots squeak with every step and my sword hilt catches on a chair. I have to stop and unhook it. The plastic cutlass swings free and smacks me in the knee. I keep walking. I'm almost at the door when Richard intercepts me. He doesn't say anything at first. He just looks at me. His face is the face of a man watching his own career catch fire. Finally, he says, I said gathering, casual dress. I realize what happened. The voicemail was garbled. He never said costumes. He said casual. My brain invented the rest. I try to explain, but there's nothing to say. I'm standing in front of my boss at a funeral, dressed like I'm about to sing a sea shanty. I do the only thing left. I apologize, quietly, and leave. I walk through the parking lot in full costume. A family getting out of their car stares. A child points. I get into my car, sit down, and the parrot squawks again. I rip it off my shoulder and throw it into the back seat. I sit there for 5 minutes in silence, still wearing the eye patch, still holding the plastic hook. I drive home.
At every red light, people in other cars look over and see a man in a pirate costume gripping a steering wheel with one hand and a plastic hook. I avoid eye contact. I don't go back to the office on Monday. I call in sick. I need one more day to mentally prepare. On Tuesday, I walk into the office and there is a small Jolly Roger pirate flag taped to my computer monitor.
Someone has drawn a skull and crossbones on a post-it note and stuck it to my chair. My desk neighbour doesn't make eye contact. By Wednesday, the nickname has spread. I am now known as Captain Grief. Richard pulls me aside and tells me, in the future, if I'm unclear about an invitation, I should just ask. He says this in the tone of a man who has had to explain to HR why one of his employees showed up to a memorial service in costume. He also tells me that all future office invitations sent to me will include the phrase, "This is not a costume party," in the subject line. This is not a joke. I received 3 emails over the next 2 months with that exact line. One is for a retirement party, one is for a morning budget meeting, one is for a voluntary fire drill. For the rest of my time at that company, I am the guy who wore a pirate costume to a funeral. People introduce me to new hires with that story. Someone prints a photo of a cartoon pirate and tapes it inside the break room with my name under it. I don't take it down. There's no point. I stay at the job for 8 more months and then leave for entirely unrelated reasons. But I know that somewhere in that office, in some forgotten folder or server backup, there is probably still a photo of that Jolly Roger flag. And someone still remembers the day a new guy showed up to a memorial service dressed like Jack Sparrow's worst cousin and tried to convince a VP that a plastic sword was a grief counselling tool. I have not worn a costume since. I don't care if the invitation explicitly says costume required. I don't care if it's Halloween. I will show up in business casual and I will stay near the exits. You can be wrong about a lot of things in life and recover. You can miss a deadline. You can send a bad email. You can forget someone's name. But if you show up to a funeral in a tricorn hat with a battery-powered parrot, you are finished. That reputation does not fade. It follows you. It becomes your legacy. And somewhere in a break room I will never visit again, there is still a post-it note with a skull and crossbones that has my name on it.